Morning, everyone. Welcome to session number 24 of Jazz and Rock and Roll Horns. All you ukulele enthusiasts, mandolin specialists. I love string instruments. Anyway, today, the last few sessions we've been talking about alternating triads and polychords, and I just wanted to finish up on that subject. Really there's a lot of other, a lot of times I kind of like just scrape the tip of the iceberg. But what I show you in these tutorials is kind of give you a launching pad for, more stuff you can look into. So let's talk about alternating triads over modes. So in the key of C, treble clef, okay, here's our scale, okay, and when you have in the key of C, the first one is your major key, of course, but the trick with all this is that if a mode is in the key of C, then the alternating triads are always going to be, well, let me rephrase that. If the mode's relative major key is C, meaning that if you're D Dorian and D is all the white notes, D minor is basically the 2 chord in the key of C. If this chord is in the key of C, the alternating triads will always be the 4 and the 5 of that relative key. Okay? So in Dorian, which is on D, here's your D right there. Your alternating triad, you write it down here, is always going to, and in Dorian the key is in the key of C. What's the 4 and 5 chord of the key of C? It's F and G triad. Okay? So if we're D right here, our relative major is the key of C, okay, the 4 and the 5 and C. So for D Dorian, alternating triads. Great for soloing. So now your polychord for that, here's your D minor 7th. This is the 3rd, the 5th, and the 7th of that D minor 7th. This G on top, there's the G there again, just inverted. The G on top gives you your 11th, your 13th, and your root, again, which we don't really need, but here's the D minor chord, here's the G triad on top. Okay? And that would be written, we would write that like this, with a straight line and G. Okay? And great for voicing in 3 parts. Here they are, 3 parts. Okay? We talked about that in one of the last sessions. So let's say we were going to do, just for grins, let's say we were going to do the 3rd of C, D, E. This is a Phrygian, okay, E minor. Okay, the relative major to that E minor chord is C. So the alternating triads again are F and G. So here we would have an E, okay, and our relative major is C and E, and here's our alternating triads that go over the top is the G and the C again over the E, which is like Phrygian. Phrygian starts on E, ends on E, and your half steps are between the 1 and the 2 and the 5 and the 6. So an E would be like this. Okay? Again, if we move up the scale to the 4, to the 4th degree, which is well, let me leave it, which is F, okay, and and the relative major to that fourth degree, that F is in the key of C. 4 and 5 in the key of C are F and G triad. Okay, and there's your F. Relative key is C, right? We're in C. We're grabbing this F. We're going to build a chord. We're going to build it off that F. So this gives you the alternating triads. So this G gives you the 9th, the 11th, and the 13th. And it's a plus 11. See, you hear that all the time. And we can take a F pedal, F G triad on top. Okay, as opposed to that's a whole nother story, but okay. And we can move on up the scale. Our mixolydian off our 5. Here's our G. Okay, is the same thing. We could change this F to a G, and the relative major of that G. It's the 5 in the key of C. So the 4 and the 5 in the key of C are F and G. So that's mixolydian. That's a 1 chord in major. Regular 9, no flat 9, no plus 9. In major, okay? And then you could do the same thing on A, which is on your A note is your Aeolian. So if we were to switch, oh, I forgot to turn the egg timer on. How do I know when to stop? We'll give us 3 more minutes. Anyway, because I'll just go on forever if I don't have my egg timer. Okay, so let's try a key of let's do a key of B flat. Okay, so here's B flat. We got 2 flats. Ooh. Okay, so here's C, the 2 in B flat. The 2 minor in D flat is Dorian. The relative major this time is B flat major. Okay, and we're going to build it off the C. Okay, so what's the 4 and the 5 of B flat is an E flat triad and an F triad. That's the 4 and the 5 of a relative major, which is B flat major. Okay, so if we're going to pedal a C, that's the 2, which is Dorian, right? So pedal a C, here's the 4 and the 5. There you have it, okay? If we move up to the 5, let's say, let's do the 4. So here's E flat. E flat is the 4, and the 4, and there's E flat, and we would play these 2 triads over the E flat. Plus 11, right? And, you know, our polychord, so here's a C minor. Let's just build a C minor. Okay. Our polychord, there's the 3rd, 5th, and 7th of C minor, but here's the F, which is the 11 or the 4, the 13, and the 1 again. So it would look like this. C minor 7 with F on top. Like that. There it is. C minor. Here's our polychord. So they really relate to polychords really quite well. And then there's some other things on. Oh, and then let's finish out this little exercise here. So that would be on the 4th, E flat. On the 5th, our F, our 5. Okay, if we were to pedal this and do the E flat F alternating triads, we have this. Mixolydian, okay? Aeolian. I can go right up the scale. Here's 2 and B, here's B flat. 2. Oh, there's the egg timer. 3, which is Phrygian. 4, Lydian, 5, Mixolydian, Aeolian, really nice one. I wrote a song around Aeolian once. I learned it and I had to use it in a song. And here's Locrian, diminished. So A is the 7th degree of B flat, right? Locrian is diminished, pretty much. And so there you have it. So shoot me an email. I love hearing from everybody. It's fred@fredstickleymusic.com. I'm going to talk a little bit more about polychords in the next chapter, and then we'll move on. In the next session, we'll move on to some interesting stuff. So thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.